Hello. Today we're going to look at Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 2. Okay. In Scene 1, we had the fight, and we found out that Romeo is kind of lovesick, likes this girl who doesn't like him back. Scene 2, we go over and we leave Romeo and Benvolio for a bit, and we get some interesting plot elements. We have Paris's question. We have some mixed messages going on, which is a very Shakespearean thing. Shakespeare likes to mix up things. He'll give somebody a message, it'll get delivered to the wrong person, it might not get delivered, and it causes all sorts of problems. We'll see what this message causes, what problem it causes. And we're back to Romeo's plight. We start off scene 2 with Paris talking to Capulet. Capulet, Lord Capulet, is Juliet's father. And Paris is a polite young man. They're initially talking about what the prince said in the fight, right? And Capulet starts off by saying, well, Montague, he's like me, we're old, but we keep the peace. And Paris is all glad. It's, you should be able to keep the peace, no more fighting. But what say you to my suit, he says. He's asking Capulet to marry Juliet, to marry his daughter. Okay. I want you to know, during Shakespeare's time, it was up to the parents to arrange who gets married to whom. All right? You didn't marry the person you fell in love with. That's silly talk back in Shakespeare's day. Your parents knew better. They knew who was around. And a lot of times marriages were arranged for bringing families together, alliances. But you did not know best, according to the thinking of the time. So Paris is following the rules. He's asking Juliet's father, can I marry your daughter? He's very polite about things. And Capulet's response is very progressive. There is no reason at all why Capulet should say no. Paris is very wealthy. He's actually related to the prince. So he is of nobility. He's probably very wealthy. And we'll see in the next couple of scenes that Paris is a really good catch. Everybody would love to marry this guy. But Capulet doesn't say, yes, of course you'd be a great spouse for my daughter. He says his will to consent is but a part. Let's see what he said. He said exactly, woo her, gentle Paris, get her heart, right? Get her heart, get her to like you. And she agree with her scope of choice lies my consent and fair according voice. If she agrees, if she likes you, if she says she wants to marry you, then I will allow it. It's up to Juliet. I want you to know that is big. Okay, this is unheard of in Shakespeare's day. For the father to say, my daughter can marry who she wants. All right. He wants his daughter to be happy. Okay, he wants a good life for her and wants her to be happy, live life her way, and let her decide who she's going to marry. This is big. How would you like it if your father let you marry who you would want to? You expect that. Okay? It was not so in Shakespeare's day. So we're going to have a party. Paris is supposed to meet Juliet at this party. And he gives this note to the servant. And here we have the beginning of mixed messages. The servant goes through this really confusing speech. Basically, he's saying he doesn't have the tool for the job. Okay. An artist uses a pencil, not some other tool that a painter would use, or a shoemaker would use. And a shoemaker would use a tool that a tailor would use. And a tailor would use tools a carpenter uses. Well, he's been given a task to read something and invite people over. He doesn't have the tools. He doesn't know how to read. So he goes around, asks people, can you help me read this? And he bumps into Romeo. It's a weird coincidence. And this play has many, many weird coincidences. This is the first of many. And we'll talk about coincidences later. And notice how Romeo's kind of a jerk to him when they first meet. let me look at this. Romeo is talking to Benvolio. We find out more about this girl, and the servant shows up and asks Romeo, "Can you read?" And Romeo's like, "Yeah, I can read my own fortune and misery. I can read my own fortune and misery." As if Romeo is a fortune teller, a soothsayer, someone who could read palms or tarot cards or something like that. And the servant then is like, "Well, maybe you haven't learned how to read books." And then Romeo is like, "I can read if I know the letters and the language," which of course is the definition of how to read, but he doesn't answer the servant's question. And the servant's had enough. He's like, "Fine, you're speaking honestly, but I'm out of here. Rest you merry," he says. Romeo's like, "Give me the paper, I'll read it." And so he reads through this whole invitation. There are a couple big names in here. Tybalt's name is in here, I think. Tybalt's name is not in there. But we have Mercutio's name in there. Mercutio is a friend of Romeo's. We'll see him later. And Romeo asks him, what's this list for, right? And then the servant gets to make fun of Romeo, right? Doesn't answer him. And where are they going? Where they're going up. Up where? To dinner. To whose house? My master's house. And he kind of gives Romeo the runaround. It's kind of funny. So he gets back at Romeo for being rude, I guess. But as the servant leaves, he invites Romeo and Benvolio to the party. "If you be not of the house of Montague, come and crush a cup of wine." So Romeo gets invited, which is kind of fun. And this mistake, this chance happening, this coincidence sets everything into motion. So we have Romeo's plight, right? He's talking to Benvolio. He's all lovesick and he's all sad. And we find out that at the dinner will sup Rosaline, whom Romeo loves. The play is called Romeo and Juliet. Paris wants to marry Juliet. Romeo wants to get together with Rosaline. So it's not quite what we imagined. So they both get invited, and Benvolio's like, "Yes, let's go to this party, and you can go see someone else." Right? Compare someone else to Rosaline, and you'll see that Rosaline's not that beautiful. But Rosalind says, or Romeo agrees, he'll go, but he only will go to go look at Rosalind. So that's interesting. You probably know what's going to happen, right? He'll go to the party, and maybe he'll see Juliet. So if that happens, what about the marriage proposal of Paris and Juliet? If that happens, what about Romeo and Rosalind? If that happens, Tybalt's a Capulet. He'll be at that party. So there's a lot going down in this scene. Some things to know. I didn't mention it yet, but there are so many images of beauty in this play. Pay attention to how Shakespeare describes beauty. He often does it with light. At one moment, someone will be compared to the sun. They're that beautiful. Sometimes it's colors, right? A snowy dove is more beautiful than a black raven. And we have those animals in there as well. Shakespeare has some scenes in here that are considered very sensual, very beautiful. And when he's talking like that, it always deals with colors and light. So pay attention to those in the future.